Hi and welcome to the video. This video is all about soft toys, cuddly toys, plushies, whatever you want to call them. That's what this video is about. We're going to do a top 10 list of the best ones that are out there right now, 2021. So there will absolutely be a few items that I have missed. There's going to be a few items that I am not aware of, or maybe you buy them all the time and sell them for great money. Maybe I've tried them and they just don't work for me. And obviously if you're in different areas of the world, this is going to be different. Certain things on this list are kind of a UK thing, but some of them are pretty universal. And you know, it should be the same in kind of most countries really for some of this stuff. And also another important thing to mention is that it's not all about price. It's not all about, you know, the most expensive toys, because I thought about it and yeah, it's about more than that. It's about how often you're going to find the things. You know, if you find a certain item all the time and manage to sell it all the time for, you know, might not be the most expensive item ever, but you finding it again and again and again and again, then, you know, debatably that's better than one item that you may never find that might be worth thousands. Do you know what I mean? So number 10 on the list is TY Beanie Babies. Now, these only just made the list. I had them out the list, I had them in the list again, in, out, in, out. Now, I've never personally found any of these that are worth particularly good money. I have had a couple that have gone for about 30 or 40 in the past, but I've had many more that have gone for just a few pounds. There are still some rare ones out there that can be worth fairly decent money, but there's a lot that are worth practically nothing. So the chance of you actually finding one that's worth great money is pretty small, I think, unless you really know your stuff. So I had a look and I found a few that were going for around 500, around 300 and around like £100. Very varied prices, but a few do seem to have sold on eBay for that kind of money. But a lot more have gone for enough, you know, a few pounds, and there's a lot of people selling like big collections of them, so like 100 or 200, and they're only coming out at about £1 each. So yeah, obviously if you've got them in bulk, if you manage to find like loads and they're really cheap, but the problem is where you're going to find them. You know, you'd need to pick them up for like 10p each or something, really realistically, if you're going to be doing that, if you're going to be like selling them in bulk. At number 9 is Pokemon Plush, Pokemon cuddly toys. I find these a lot and they are okay. They don't go for crazy money. I might get £10 each, perhaps, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, depends what you've got. Yeah, some of them are really not worth that much money, but if you find like special edition ones, you know, brand new with tags and then vintage ones as well, some of them can go pretty well. With the Pokemon soft toys, I do find that there's quite a lot of fakes out there, so you've got to be careful of that. You know, make sure that they are right before you try and resell them. Yeah, some of the special edition Pokemon can go for up to £100. That's about maximum from what I've seen that they tend to go for. So number 8 on the list is promotional soft toys. So when I say promotional soft toys, I mean things like comparethemarket.com, the meerkats from that. I mean the PG Tips monkeys, the Goodness Gang that the Co-op did a few years back, and there's quite a few others as well, but I think they're kind of the main ones, and they're the ones that I find the most often. And in particular the PG Tips monkeys and the meerkats, they are kind of everywhere. With the Goodness Gang, I believe that there were 2 series, and if you got all 8 from each series, you could be talking around £50 for the lot, so like 16 for £50. You could probably sell, you know, the full series 1 or the full series 2 for maybe 30 thereabouts. This is based on eBay prices right now, 2021, when I've looked into it, February 2021. Some of the PG tip monkeys, the larger ones, can go for 40 or 50 pounds. I've recently had one myself which sold for 20 something, but there are rarer ones out there which can go for kind of up to 50 pounds. The smaller ones are not worth too much, but if you've got a few of them, you can bundle them together and do okay. There's a few smaller limited edition ones that are okay as well. And then the meerkats, some of the meerkats can do okay if you've kind of got the certificates that they come with and the box that they come in. Usually they can do okay. I don't often pick them up. I've had them very cheap before and I've picked them up and done okay with them. I think some of the superhero ones can do okay. Some of the baby Oleg ones can do okay. Okay, so at number 7, some may say this should have been higher up on the list, but as I say, this is my personal list. This is just based on my experience. Some of us, some people may put it up high, some people, it might not even have been on their top 10. But number 7 for me is Flat Eric. So Flat Eric is obviously like the mascot of Levi Jeans, or he was back in, what, the 90s, was it? Early to mid 90s, thereabouts. And yeah, I've never found one, I've never seen one. I have heard a lot of people picking them up though and selling them for quite good money. So the going rate on eBay right now is around £120 for the largest one. They vary quite a bit in price. The smaller ones can only go for about 20. And obviously with all plush, with all soft toys, if you've got them in great condition with the tags, if they came with tags or came with a box or packaging, they're worth a lot more than just loose. So I don't have much more to say about that really. It's like one item, isn't it, that they didn't do that many of. So I'm going to move on. Let's go to number 6. Okay, so at number 6 we have BuildABear. Now I know a lot of people out there will have put this higher on their list. Now I've not, because I very rarely find any of these that are actually worth any money. In fact, I very rarely find them at all, but when I do find them and search them, it's not very often they're worth any money. Personally, I might not even have put this on the list, but I know people do find them, they do make some decent money, and I can see from the sold listings on eBay that some of them are worth some pretty good money if you can find them. Now the best BuildABears to look out for according to eBay sold listings are Pokemon, A Nightmare Before Christmas, and there's a candy corn one which seems to be worth about £500, so that is worth looking out for as well. So number 5 on the list is Harrods bears. Now some people will know about these, some people won't. It's definitely a British thing and they can be worth really good money. Now I personally have picked these up once. I picked them up once and I got about 10 in one go, and I managed to sell them for pretty good money. They went for between 25 and 45 pounds thereabouts. I didn't have a particularly rare one in there. Some of them are worth a lot more than others. Obviously again, if you've got them new with tags, it's better. If you've got the full collection, I think there's been about 35 of them made since they started making them. If you've got that full collection, it's worth around £1,000. Now that's a lot, 35 for £1,000, whatever the maths is on that, you could say not great. But again, it's something that I think people are more likely to pick up. Like for instance, the one from 2019 is actually worth about £140, and that was only 2 years ago. The best individual ones go for about £250 and then they come down, but even the cheapest ones you should be able to get at least 25-30 quid for them. So in at number 4 are traditional teddy bears. So I'm talking Steiff and Charlie bears. They do well as well. I'm sure there's other brands out there. I'm definitely no expert when it comes to teddy bears. I I don't know that much. I kind of know those two brands. I don't know much else. Obviously, like the Harrods bears and stuff, and some of the kind of other low-end ones I know about. But I'm talking particularly the older vintage bears, the ones that are, you know, limited edition runs, you know, highly collectible, and, you know, really good quality. You know, they're really expensive when you originally buy them, never mind 10, 20, 30 years down the road. You know, a lot of people collect these. A lot of them are worth really good money. So looking on eBay on sold listings, there was one from 1908, a Steiff bear, that went for £2,500. Now, to look at this bear, you would not think it at all. You know, it didn't look anything special. It wasn't wearing anything at all. It didn't have a particularly good outfit. It wasn't like any particular kind of like tie in with another brand or anything like that. It was just a regular kind of teddy bear. But it did look old. You know, it looked like it had age to it. And they're the ones that seem to be worth the most. Some of the Steiff Paddington bears go well. There's one recently that went for £1,750 on eBay. And I found a few other Paddington bears also going for over £1,000, so they seem to be one to look out for. And there's also quite a lot of others that were over £1,000 as well, all different kind of types from different years. And the Charlie bears, they kind of top end are going for about 1,200 thereabouts. But there's quite a few that are worth high hundreds as well. So next is number 3. This is the top 3 now. The top 3 items, soft toys that I think are ones to look out for out there. So in at number 3 is 70s, 80s and 90s TV soft toys. So I'll go into a bit more detail because obviously that is quite a broad spectrum right there. But I originally had 80s and 90s separate on the list. Then I thought, well, what about the ones from the 70s? Because I thought of a few from the 70s. And in the end, I just kind of put them all together in like kind of retro kind of vintage plush to do with TV. Now this obviously, there's a whole load, you know, there's a lot that I could list, but I'm not going to list them all. But anything that's involving TV from the 70s, 80s and 90s, and for me personally, the 80s and the 90s. So we've got things like Rainbow. Do you remember Rainbow from the 70s? Some of those toys, some of the older ones can do quite well, but even the newer ones can do quite well. If you've got like a little set of them, you can sell them for fairly good money. You've got things like Teddy Ruxpin. Now, should he be on this list? Is he more of a toy than he is like a soft toy? Because obviously, you know, you put a cassette tape in and he sings and everything, he moves and that. So is that considered more of a toy than a plush? Not sure. But if you have a fully working one of them, then they can go for pretty good money. If you've got a fully working one that's still boxed, they can go for very good money. We have things like Care Bears, Rainbow Bright, Alf, the TV show Alf, if you remember that. We've got the wrestling buddies. Some of them are worth really good money. And then on to like the 90s, we've got the Teletubbies, we've got Rosie and Jim, we've got Tots TV, and there's, you know, there's lots of others. There's lots of others, but anything that is involving TV from the 70s, 80s and 90s is hot right now and will sell well into the future. The other thing is you are much more likely to pick these up than some of the things further down in this list. Yeah, a lot of this stuff can be fairly easily found out there. If you go looking, car boot sales, charity shops, these things do come up. You just need to know what it is you're looking for, and you will find them eventually. You keep looking and they will come up. A fully working Teddy Ruxpin in good condition and its box can go for £200 plus. I personally have picked up the Starlight horse from Rainbow Bright twice now within the last year, and it sold for about £40–45 on both occasions. Good money on them. I actually have one of the wrestling buddies right here. This is the Hulk Hogan one. This one is not worth that much. Think about 30 to 40 if you've got one in like really good condition. Again, if you've got the box, they can go for a lot more of these. And the Ultimate Warrior seems to be a good one, and it can go for around £100. If you've got a Big Boss Man one, they go for about 125. And if you've got Macho Man Randy Savage, then they go for about 150. It does depend on condition. And if you've got the box for kind of any of the more expensive things that I talked about, you know, the more you've got, the better. If you've got the box, if you've got the tags, if you've got even things like, let's say you bought a Harrods bear from Harrods and it came in a Harrods bag, like the plastic bag. All these little things together will increase the value or make yours stand out from anybody else trying to sell it. So yeah, 70s, 80s, 90s plush, anything that's a bit nostalgic. You know, people have kids and then they want their kids to have what they had when they were a kid, or what they couldn't have as a kid, and they want to buy it for their kids. Yeah, they want to do that even though, you know, most kids are just going to be like, what is this? Macho Man Randy Savage, you know what I mean? What is this? What's this all about?
I am the cream, yeah, the cream of the crop.
So in at number 2 is Disney soft toys. Now I've got to put this up near the top because I routinely find more Disney stuff that's worth good money than anything else. So I've got to put it up at the top of my list. Might not be at the top of yours, but for me personally, I find a lot of Disney stuff that's worth 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds, and you know, fairly often, whereas some of the other stuff you might not find it for months or even years of looking for it. This stuff is out there. With a bit of research into it, you can find out what's good and what's not, because there's a lot of it out there. There's a lot of vintage Disney stuff out there. There's a lot of current Disney stuff out there. There's limited edition this, limited edition that. For instance, I have back here, we have this guy. This is a gummy bear, and he has just sold for me for £38 plus postage. I picked him up for £2 from the charity shop a few weeks back, and yeah, good money in him. Back here we have this guy's called Walter. He's from the Muppets movie from 2011, so he's not that old. He's only 10 years old, but he's worth pretty good money, about 30. Beaker, he's worth pretty good money, about 40, 45, thereabouts, maybe even more on that. I've sold the smaller version of him before for about 30, so this is like twice the size. Got classic Mickey Mouse, the ones with like the year on there. Yeah, I tend to find that rarer Disney characters from well-known movies is where the money is generally at. So you can take any of them really, and if you've got, you know, one of the kind of characters is not a main character, the main characters, obviously they made a lot more of them. There's many more out there. It's the kind of side characters that they may not have made quite as many of. For instance, Trusty from the Lady and the Tramp. He is not really a main character, I wouldn't say so. He's kind of a side character. And I had him fairly recently. I picked him up for £1 or £2 from a charity shop, and he went for about £50. Nightmare Before Christmas is another one. Some of those plush can do really well. Definitely look out for them. Yes, there's a lot of things that come under Disney. So you've got all these kind of different brands. You could even say things like Star Wars and The Simpsons, who, you know, Disney bought Fox, so they've got those properties now as well. You know, you could put that under Disney. So it really is kind of a big thing. There's a lot of the stuff out there, but if you have a little bit of knowledge, you can do really well. I would just say, anytime you find something Disney that looks a little bit unusual, look into it and just see. And that brings us to number 1, but let's just do a few honourable mentions now before we get to number 1. Movie plush. I couldn't really think of too many. I mean, you've got some 80s films like Gremlins and Ghostbusters. I would imagine if you had like a Marshmallow Man from back then, or like Gizmo, some of them might be okay. But I had a quick look into them and couldn't really find many that were going for good money. A brand called Jellycat, which I think is like a London-based company. Some of their stuff can go really well. I had a Narwhal, which I bought for about £2 or £3, and I resold that for about 50, so that was really good. Another honourable mention is Modern TV. So Modern TV Plush, we've got Twirlywoos, we've got In the Night Garden, and like Rasta Mouse, I see them quite often. There's quite a few others. Some of them can be worth okay money. Peppa Pig, I've had a rare Peppa Pig one before, which was worth about £30. Another honourable mention is theme park slash, you know, souvenir kind of plush, the kind of stuff you'd get from, you know, a theme park or an aquarium, a sea life centre, something like that. I've sold a few of them before. Occasionally you can get some okay money for some of them, but they're very, very hit and miss. So here we go, number one. Now I'm sure a lot of you will have guessed this already, perhaps not. Now I think I have a bit of a soft spot for this because I had one of these. In fact, I had two of these when I was a kid. I had one and I had a rare one, which even to this day I cannot find it anywhere. So I'm thinking, was it even one of these, or was it just something similar? So in at number one is My Pet Monster. Yes, I'm sure a lot of you have guessed it. My Pet Monster is pretty good if you can find one. So you've got the original ones, you've got some rare ones that they only made a certain amount of. You got the remakes that they did in 2001. But you want the 1980s ones, but you want the original 1986 ones ideally, but pretty much any of them, you know, if you're out at a car boot sale, a garage sale, a flea market or a charity shop and you see any of them for a few pounds, you pick them up. Don't even question it, pick them up. My Pet Monsters. If you find anything to do with it at all, that's old, that has age to it, pick it up. Just pick it up. My Pet Monsters were first produced by a company called American Greetings back in 1986. In 2001, a company called Toy Max kind of re-released their kind of version of it. They bought the rights to make them, and they look a bit different, but they've still got like the handcuffs. So they came with these handcuffs, and even the handcuffs can sell for about £50 just for a set of handcuffs. People buy them to obviously complete theirs that don't have the handcuffs. The idea was they were meant to be removed and worn by kids. You were supposed to kind of, it had like some kind of breakaway link or something, and you would wear them and you just kind of like break them like that. That was the idea. I think so therefore some of them got broken or lost, and that's why, you know, they don't always come with the handcuffs. A condition on these, looking on eBay, looking at sold listings, can vary massively, and the price therefore goes with the condition. But the one you need to look out for, and this is as far as I'm aware now. Is there an even rarer version out there that I don't know about? There could be, but this is the one that I am most aware of. So the best one, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, is the Beastier or Beaster, and that seems to be worth about £800. Yes, £800 if you can find this. And it has the handcuffs, so this is without the box. This is just, you know, if you've got it with the handcuffs in fairly good condition, £800. Pretty easy. If you've got it in like immaculate condition, if you got it in the box, then you can name your price. We're talking into the thousands, easy. Make sure, like, if you ever find one, you open it up to the world, because people around the world want these, especially in America. I believe some of the rarer ones never came out in America, and that's part of the reason why they're so sought after. They only came out in Europe, and specifically the UK, I think. They were big, they were like different, they were big kind of monster creature things. There's nothing else like them, and even now there's nothing really that kind of comes close to them in what they were going for with them. So the regular ones, which is probably the ones that most people remember, I'll put a photo here or here, and they still go for about £180 with the handcuffs. The handcuffs seem to kind of make it. If you don't have the handcuffs, they don't seem to sell for nearly as much. So that's it, that's my personal thoughts, that's my top 10. Now, as I say, it's not just based on the amount of money, it's based on how likely you are to find the stuff, and stuff that I've like found myself. I'm obviously going to rate it a bit higher because I know, you know, I've found the item, I've managed to sell it, and I've made good money. So in my mind, you know, some of this stuff is going to be higher up there for me because I find it more often, and I know I have a, you know, a proven track record that it does sell for good money. And please do leave a comment down below. Tell me which ones you would have put on the list, which ones you wouldn't have put on the list. If there's things that I've completely missed out, I may well have done, let me know down below. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I have very much enjoyed making this one. I love these kind of lists of like retro toys and stuff like that. This wasn't really, you know, I didn't go into kind of massive depth with kind of technicalities and, like, you know, overload of information about the item. This video is more just about the kind of stuff that I find out there that you can either, you know, go and find at charity shops, thrift stores, garage sales, flea markets, wherever else. You know, raid your loft, raid your attic, raid your basement, whatever it is you've got. If you want another video like this, in this kind of style, on a different topic, let me know and I will see what I can do. I hope you enjoyed watching. Again, if there's anything I've missed, please do tell me. Say it down in the comments below. You know, these lists are always a bit controversial. Nobody's going to get it 100% right. I can only go off what I know. There's going to be stuff that I've missed. I know there is. Even when I was writing down my kind of list, I kept adding extra things on, taking stuff out, moving it all around. You know, I couldn't even decide myself. So I'm sure, you know, there's going to be things that I've missed, and that's great. You know, let me know, because I would love to know some more things that I can pick up, some more things that I can keep an eye out for when I'm out there thrifting, looking through the charity shops and going to the car boot sales. I'd love to have, you know, more stuff in my repertoire. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.